Welcome to my channel. In this tutorial we'll learn how to sew this halter neck backless shirt. It's so easy to sew, it's beginner friendly. Stay with me as we learn how to make this beautiful style. To sew this beautiful halter neck shirt, the first thing is to draft your basic pattern. So draft your basic pattern, and that is what I want to do at this point. The first line I will draw is the shoulder line, which is more like my reference line now. And on this shoulder line, I will mark 3 inches. After marking the 3 inches, I will mark 5 inches, starting from the 3 inches. And on the 5 inches, I will come down by 1.5 inches, and I will draw my shoulder slant. From that shoulder line, I'll go down to where my waist is, that is from the shoulder to the waist, and I'll put it, in this case I'm using 16. Also from the shoulder, I will mark to where I want this shirt to end, which is 24, but actually I'll mark 25. That is, I'll add 1 inch for allowance that we used to turn it at the down part, and I will draw the line. On the shoulder line, I'll put my shoulder or my back divided by 2. Mine is 16, so I'm dividing it by 2. That is, I'll mark 8 at that point. I'll go down a little and mark 8, and the purpose of this 8 is just for me to have a straight line where I'll put my armhole length. And the armhole length I'll be using is 8. Sorry, is 8. So I'll mark the 8. From that slant, from the shoulder slant, I'll mark 8 inches, and that is where I'll put my bust divided by 4. I'll put my bust divided by 4. I will add half an inch for his, and I will add 1 inch for my seam allowance. Then on the waistline, I'll put my waist divided by 4, half inch for his, and 1 inch for seam allowance. On the hip line now, which is the length, the full length of my shirt, I will do the same thing. I will divide my hip by 4, add half inch for his, and 1 inch for seam allowance, and connect the 3 lines together. The next thing is to make my armhole curve. Now this is we are using this for the back, and now I'll cut it out and use it to trace the front. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Please subscribe, like and share this video. Don't forget to turn on your notification icon so that whenever I upload new tutorials, you'll be duly informed. Now I already cut out the pattern and I placed it on another pattern paper. So the first thing is to mark out allowance for the placket in front, that is where the button will sit, the overlap in front. So I marked out 2 inches for that button overlap, since we are drafting a shirt pattern. You can this part depends on how wide your button is. You can go as far as much as 3 inches, or even you reduce it to like 1.25 or 1.5 inches. It depends on your button size. So I will now trace out that pattern. Trace it out. I realize my green pen is gone, so I'll have to change it to another color. Now I want to work on this button allowance that I left here. For me, there is a way I do my buttonhole on a straight stitch machine. So that is the method I'll be using for this particular blanket or this particular buttonhole style. So I don't need more than 1/2 inch allowance for it. So that's why I only put that 2 inches to explain to you how to put the allowance for your buttonhole and the overlap. But for me, I just need 1/2 inch button allowance. So I'm cutting off the remaining one. But if you want to sew it the normal way, the normal shirt way, to fold and put the button the way shirt is sewn, then you don't have to cut off this part. And if you want to learn my own way of using a straight stitch sewing machine to do this part of a shirt, I will drop the link to in my description box to that particular video. I have it on my channel. Okay, so now I have just 1/2 inch allowance at that point. Now we'll now go to the neckline. The neckline that I will use for this, don't forget this is the front. So the neckline I will use is 3 inches by 3 inches. That is 3 inches for the width and 3 inches for the depth. And I'm marking the 3 inches from that center line, not from the 1/2 inch allowance. is from the center line, so I will join it and I'll cut it. Now even if it is for, if I had left the 2 inches, this is the way you cut the neckline for a shirt. The excess or that allowance that you left in front, you fold it in like this. You fold it in, then cut the neckline. Don't cut it the normal way we cut for blouse. It might give you issue at the end. So just fold your allowance in and cut. The next thing is to work on the shape of the neck. Now from that center front line, you mark what you want your neck to be. It can be 2.5 inches, it can be 3 inches. That is what you are going to leave at that neck. So for me, I marked 2.5 inches. If you like, you can go 3 inches. I marked 2.5 inches. Now if you want to maintain the armhole depth, the one we have there, you see I have an opening at that point. So what I will just do is pick another paper and just stick it. This part is it depends on your preference. There is no hard and fast rule to it. It depends on how much flesh you want to show beside your bust, how much flesh you want to show, and how covered you want it to be. So you can start from the armhole and draw your line. If you like, you can draw it straight. If you like, you can draw it a little curvy. You see, you can follow that line. But for me, I'll go down from the armhole by 1 inch and I'll draw another line. I'll draw the line. That is what I want. If you still want it open, you can still go down further, but 1 inch is okay from the armhole for me, and I will draw it like this, and that is the line I will cut. So basically that is all for the front. That's all we have to do. Now let's go to the back. This back, the first thing is to mark where you want the back to start from. You can maintain the half length. You can go further down or you go up. For me, I'll just go up by 1 inch. I'll go up by 1 inch. If you like, you can go up more than 1 inch, but 1 inch is fine for me. So I'll just draw the line and cut it. So we don't need the upper parts anymore. We just need to work on the lower part. Now I will mark 1.25 inches, and this 1.25 inches I'm cutting it off. Cutting off the 1.25 inches because the back has to be kind of open so that the tying of the belt will make sense. So 1.25 inches I'll cut off later. Now the next thing is that if you look at the back, it has a curve, but So I'll come down by 2.5 inches to get that curve. But before doing that, let me cut off this 1.25 mark so that you won't be confused. So I cut off that part, and this is what we are left with. Now come down by 2.5 inches. Then from my main marking, not the allowances that I added, I came in by 4 inches, and I'll just connect it. Don't forget that we added allowances, which is ½ inch for ease and 1 inch for the seam. So those are not included in this coming in. So if I had included that means I'll come in by like 5.5 inches. But I just marked 4 inches. So I'll cut off that part. And we don't need that one. This is what we need. Then I remember that this back does not need the ½ inch ease that I added, so I'll just cut it off. The ½ inch ease that I added is useful for the front part, but for the back parts I'm not sure we need it, so I'll just mark and cut it off as well. Then after doing that, we'll cut our fabric. We use this to cut our fabric, the pattern to cut our fabric. This is the back. I already cut out the fabric. You cut 2 pieces and you add unnecessary allowance. And also for the front, this is what I have. Now there are some other things to cut. Let me start with the collar. This is my stay, my collar stay. You measure your neck round. I'm working with 16.5. So you fold your collar stay into 2, draw a straight line. You draw a straight line, and that 16.5 that I measured, I'll divide it into 2 because this is on fold, and it will give me 8.25. That's 8.25. What I want to mark here is a collar stand. So I'll mark 1 inch. I want my collar stand to be 1 inch. So I'll mark 1 inch. I'll mark the 1 inch upward. And connect the lines. I want my collar stand to be a little bit curved, so I will come up at this point by ½ inch, and from that outer one also by ½ inch. I'm still maintaining the 1 inch, only that I want it curved. So I'll join the new line and now try to blend it to what I have. So that is my new collar stand, and I want it covered at that point too. Just curve it a bit. You can leave it straight if you want. At this point, it is your choice. You don't have to do exactly like this. Now come in by 1.25. You can come in by 1 inch or 1.5 inches, depending on where you want. And how big you want your collar to be depends on you. For me, I will use 2.5 inches. So on that line that I just drew, I will mark. I don't want my collar to be straight, so I want it curve. I'll mark the collar height first, which is 2.5 inches. Then I want it tinted towards the side. I don't want a straight collar, so I just went by 0.25, 0.75. Then I'll just connect it. I hope it's not confusing. If you like, you can draw a straight line like this, but for me, I want to make sure the collar is 2.5 even at that point, so I will mark it 2.5, and I'll now draw the curve. It's slightly curved, so I'll draw that curve, and that will be my collar and the collar stand. I'll cut it out. So that's my collar and the collar stand, and I'll cut fabric for it. Now this is what I want to use to make my buttonhole or my blanket, as the case may be. I cut 2 inches, and on the length will be the length of my shirt. I'll cut 2 of this. Check the description box to a link to how to make this particular buttonhole. Now I want to cut fabric for my collar stand, and I'll also cut fabric for my collar. This is the belt that I will use for the back, to tie the back, and the length is 30 inches. If you don't want it that long, you can reduce it. And I cut it on fold. I cut 2, and the mouth is thin, while it's a little bit wide at the down part. I already use iron to iron my inside my collar stay to my fabric, so I'll iron this like this, and I'll sew it. That is the lower part of my collar stand. I'll start ironing. I will sew it straight down. And this is the main collar. This is the will I call it the lining now. Just cut the fabric into two. So I'll take it to my sewing machine and I'll sew it around like that, like that, and like that. This is the one I want to use to do my buttonhole. I already ironed it. Remember, it was 2 inches. I already ironed it, and I will put them facing each other. I will bring out my button and I will mark where to sew and where to skip. If you want to learn more about this buttonhole style, check my description box to the link to the video. You will see a detailed video on how to do it. Now this is the back. I'll fold the part that needs to be folded. These are curved parts. I'll fold it, and the upper part I'll fold it. Just fold it into two, and that is it. This is my collar. I already joined it. I sew close to the collar stay. I didn't sew on the collar stay, but very close to it. So I just trim off the excess. I'll turn it inside out and I'll iron it. And then here is the collar stand. So I just trim off the excess. This is the front, the right side of the front, and the buttonhole is already attached to it. And the left side, I already cut out this. I'll just add it to it using the 1/2 inch seam allowance. Remember, you don't have to use this way to get your buttonhole and your blanket. You can use the normal way to sew shirts. I just decided to use this because I don't want to go through the stress of having to add buttonhole to this particular shirt. Okay, so this is it. This is the left side now. I already joined it. Just take it to my ironing table and iron. And this is the right side with the buttonhole on it already. And my collar too, just have to go join my collar, and I'll come back to show you what I have. This is the collar already joined to the collar stand, and let me just demonstrate to you how I will attach it to the neckline. That is one side, and the front will be at this, and the other side will be attached like this. That, well, before I do the collar, I have to join the front to the back first. I have to join the front to the back and turn all the sides. After turning the sides, I will join my belt to it, and I'll fix the collar, and I'll come back to show you the finished product. Don't go anywhere, wait for the finished work. I'll do the ironing, I'll iron, and I'll come back to show you what we have at the end. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like this video, give me a thumbs up, and drop your comments. And this is the final result. The lighting changed the color, but it's the same material. And this is the back view, and I added an elastic channel here just to hold that part very well and make it firm. And this is the belt, this is the lower part. It came out nice and beautiful. I hope you have learned something in this tutorial. If this content is the type you like, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. Drop your comments below. Thank you so much. See you in my next tutorial.